This is a video I'm making for Avante, the young man who was working 2 jobs with a 1-year-old who's struggling and said he was sick and tired of being poor and didn't know how to get out. I didn't have time to answer you when I was walking, but I wanted to take this minute to give you a longer answer. I'll read you the tweet, maybe we'll put it up on the screen. To Avante, the young man who stopped me at the grocery store working 2 jobs with a 1-year-old who asked advice on how to get ahead. I gave you a short answer because I was in a rush and it ate at me. So if you follow me here, maybe you'll read this. What you're going through is tough. Being so young and already having to support a child is not easy, but you'll have the opportunity to become an amazing inspiration in a way I never could. Your success story will become your sermon. That being said, onto the advice. You're going to need to assume that luck isn't real, or that it applies to everyone else but you, because the only way you're going to get out of your surroundings is by having something of value that other people want. And right now, the only thing you have is your time with low skills to trade, which is a hard game to play. You have to trade a lot of it only to get a little. So your main objective is to have the time to learn a skill while providing for your family. That means in the short term, your family may have to suffer. Scratch that. Your family will suffer. But better now when they're too young to remember it than when they're too old to forget. Again, not forever, but for now. So these are the things you're going to have to do. And this isn't dabble stuff. This is wake the fuck up, because if you don't, you're going to blink and be 30 and in the same spot, but worse. Number 1, cut all costs. And I mean all costs. You don't eat out anymore for anything. And if you're hungry, you deal with it. If it's not from a discount grocery store, you don't buy it. Clothing, ha. What you've got is everything you need for the next 2 years, period. No exceptions. Reuse, trade, or go to Goodwill. You go to work, you go home, and home is ideally with your family. And when I say family, your folks. And if you don't have folks who've got room or a couch or a basement that you can stay at, the worst case is with another family also trying to make it and save. So it's 6 of you, 8 of you, 10 of you in one spot, all splitting it, all of you contributing. And it's gonna be as cheap as you possibly can. Number 2, increase your income. You're working 2 jobs. Your free time, I want you to spend applying to other jobs closer to what you want to do. He said he didn't like either of the things that he was doing at that time. So any at-home phone sales job has starter roles that require 0 experience and pay $40,000 a year or more. Do that and work your other job in between. If you can't, drive Uber. If you don't have a car, save up until you do. Number 3, the easiest thing to sell is someone else's stuff. So start there. Then learn how to buy stuff for cheap and then flip it. The bigger the thing, the more you make. You go from flipping cards to furniture to home, and the limit never really stops from there on. Final note, I could hear the stress in your voice when you were talking to me about your situation. It sounded like you didn't know what to do. Sadness comes from a lack of options. It's a feeling of hopelessness. But whenever you feel that, I want you to think this is ignorance, not sadness. It means I don't know enough, and that I can control. You asked me to come work for free, but I have no need for low-skilled labor. But I do have a need for high-skilled beasts. It's why I make the books and the courses and the content everywhere for free. So use those. Then get yourself a high-paying job, and every day apply for higher-paying ones. I recommend sales to start. Then once you get in there, for the love of God, work until your fingers bleed because you have no other option. You have no luck. Nothing is going to work out for you. You're not going to catch a break. You're going to have to make it happen. You're going to have to force it. You've got to become undeniable. And the best news is that you can do that in less than a year. So that's my advice. Number 1, cut all your costs, everything. Number 2, work more to make more and apply to better jobs and then learn to sell. 3, start selling more expensive stuff and then eventually sell your own. The game is just trading up over and over and over again. You're just a few trades away from a very different financial situation. So Avante, I wanted to add on top of that, you're in a tough spot, and I think some of the words I probably just said to you might hopefully hit home somewhere. But one of the hard things that you got going on right now is like when I saw you, you were wearing relatively nice clothes. And I wasn't gonna like bash you on it when I saw you, but I want to take the opportunity to say like, you know better. You know what I mean? Like, you know that like if you're struggling with money, that's the last thing that you should spend money on, right? And I think one of the difficulties, especially when you're younger, is you've got your friends, you got your family, and especially if they're all poor, then they have terrible views around money. They might not approve of all the stuff you're learning on the internet and trying to try these new things out. And the real is like, you're gonna fail a lot. And they're gonna say, see, told you so. And the tough part is they're gonna be right most of the time. Except it's one of those things where it's 99% right, but 100% wrong. Is that anybody who bets against you for this thing being the thing is usually gonna be right. It's just like a parent who says, you're gonna break up with this person, you're gonna break up with this person, you're gonna break up with this person. But they're right with every single person you ever date, except for the person you marry. And then they're 100% wrong. And if you have the perspective of listening to that, it can be incredibly disheartening. And so number 1 is, I want you to go on a different information diet. So you need to be able to ignore all the stuff that they're giving you, because like the best way to stay poor is to listen to poor people about how to get rich. You're already taking great steps by like watching content, doing this stuff. Just keep doing more of that. And I'm sure your girl girl, whoever, you have your baby with, that's your world. Like anybody who's not trying to build Avante 2.0 with you doesn't deserve your time. Because like right now, you have a wallet of money and you got a wallet of minutes. And like every single person you're choosing to pay minutes to or pay dollars to has to earn their keep. And earning their keep in this season of your life is them helping you get to where you want to go. Now, I don't know what you're making in your job. I'm just going to assume the extreme scenario of you're making minimum wage at both jobs and you're working 80 hours doing that. I get it and I respect the hustle, which is why I'm making this video. You need to get more for your time. And right now, the extra time on top of that 80 is you sleeping and probably spending time with your kid. And what I'm going to say, people in your surroundings will say like, that guy's extreme or that guy, he's not balanced. And the answer is yes, I am extreme and I am unbalanced. For the season that you're in, I think you should be too. Because the thing is like, if you don't take action on this, 5 years is going to go by and nothing's going to change because you're not going to get ahead. Like you need to get your head firmly above water because you probably barely feel like you can keep your head above surface, right? That's where all that stress is coming from. And you don't know what to do. So to get the water lower, you've got to lower your time budget and your money budget. And I want to go really extreme with you. And I'm not telling you to do anything I didn't do. All right. I owned my car in cash, which I think was a $5,000 or $6,000 car. And I slept in a room with another dude in a house that had 6 other people in it. And we all split it. So I wasn't in a terrible neighborhood. I just paid $400 a month in a nice neighborhood because I didn't have my own place. And so I had to split my kitchen. And I had to deal with the fact that 3 of them had dogs and was shit and piss everywhere all the time. It sucked. But you know what would have sucked more? Not being able to have the money to buy the courses and the seminars and the workshops that I was able to attend with the extra that I saved so I could learn my next skills. And so right now, food and shelter is the only thing you spend money on, and you're gonna drop everything else. And you're gonna drop those expenses to the greatest degree possible. And either your girl is working, and if she's working, then you can have childcare. If she's not working to take care of the kid, then you need to say, listen, sweetie, like I gotta do this for us right now. And so like you're putting your sacrifice in, which is you're sacrificing your career so you can be with the kid. I need to sacrifice the kid right now so I can have the career so that together as a family we're balanced rather than the individual. So there's 2 levels of balance I want you to think about. One is the macro, which is like you can be balanced over your lifespan. When you're retired, you'll have more time. You can go to Europe, you can do whatever the other stuff is, right? And also you can be balanced in a family unit. Your wife might spend more time with the kid than she does in her career, but you're gonna spend more time in your career than you do with the kid for now. Cut out the people who are taking your time. Easy way to see this is like, if the people in your life don't have bigger dreams for you than you do, ignore all of their advice. Let's just ignore them entirely. And I know that that's simple to say and hard to do, but you're in a hard situation. And I think the question is whether you can be harder than your circumstances right now. And you have to be to get out of this. Luck has already dealt you a shit hand. Let's assume he's never going to give you the right hand. You're never going to get lucky, but you still need to win. And so now it's like, how do I do that? If you have a car, you can have more flexible hours if you drive Uber. That's something that I recommend for a lot of people. If you don't have a car, you need to save up as fast as you can to get one. Buy one in cash, negotiate, try and get yourself $5,000 to $10,000 car in cash. You don't have payments, you just have the insurance, which because it's a cheap car will be less. The remainder of your time, and you got to tell your lady this, is like, I'm going to be spending 4 hours a day, every day, watching these videos, and this isn't me doom scrolling on YouTube. I need you to pick one skill that you want to have and only consume stuff about that. This is my one thing I'll let you buy. It's a timer. You can buy it for $5, not your phone. And you set the timer and you set it for those 4 hours a day. And every time you look away, you stop the timer. You do 4 hours of real work of studying the skill. After you've done enough of that work and you're like, well, what's enough? 20 hours? Like you're like, oh, I could do that soon. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm telling you. You can get out of this fast. You can switch those 4 hours of you learning the basics of that skill to spending the rest of your time being the most amazing applicant to new jobs that exist in the world. I didn't say go apply to jobs. I said be the best candidate that has ever applied. And you're like, I don't have experience. And you can address that. Like, what I don't have an experience, I will make up for and hustle. And you prove that by messaging multiple people at every company with a snippet personalized to each of them. You know what other people do? Like, they take a half step. They copy and paste the same thing to all 4 people. And you know what the 4 people do? Yeah, he copy and pasted the same message to me. Don't do that. Be personal. Look at the HR recruiter. Look at the head of talent. Look at director of whatever. And message each of them on LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn, go get one. It's free. And when you submit your resume, put a personalized cover letter on it after reading from the website what that business is about. When you read the job description, good job descriptions say what they want the person to do. And say like, I will be able to help do this thing because of these things, right? And especially a lower level role, your resume is not going to matter as much. Don't let anybody around you say that or fool you into that. What will matter, especially for low level roles, is hustle. So every employer wants to see is somebody who's going to go out of their way to go above and beyond. And so you demonstrate that you're going to go above and beyond. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to do this for 5 different places. You're going to write a custom thing. It's going to take you 4 hours to do the research, write the custom thing, message 20 people because it's going to be 4 people at all 5 places. You know what's going to happen? Nothing. is you're not lucky. So what are you going to have to do? Got to be undeniable. Do you think if you applied to 1,000 places like that over the next 6 months, you wouldn't get a job? I think you would. Do you think if like after you got off your shift, you drove over and you said, hey, I just want to let you know, not in a creepy way, you say, hey, just want to let you know, I applied to put my resume, I messaged a couple of you guys, I just want to let you know I'm really excited about the opportunity, don't want to be overbearing, but if you guys would give me a shot, I promise I will work harder than any other candidate here. And I'd like to just show you that I'm demonstrating that by these things. So you're like, I have proof that I'm saying, I'm not just making this up, I have proof.